Hi, everyone. It is Coach Mo here for session number 3 on why women are still not ahead. Ay, 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 why? So we've covered some issues around how we are brought up as women and what the conditioning is. We've brought up issues of how we're taught to behave and the conflict of what pits us basically against ourselves, and also the conflict of why we're not asking. Today, I'm talking about age, and it doesn't matter if you perceive yourself to be too old or not. I get this age thing from women who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. This age topic, again, it's largely a woman's issue. I can't say that there's no man on this planet who would consider himself to be too old for success, but it's not something that men typically are bothered with the way that women are. So I want to tackle this head on, because if you are putting age as a problem for yourself, if you're creating a barrier based on your age, you're already telling yourself a limiting belief. And this can get disastrous in how you feel about moving forward for a promotion, more responsibility, or perhaps even fielding recruiter calls or interview. You might be not interviewing that strongly if you really believe inside of yourself that, well, I'm just not at that age where I can be committing another 20 years to my career, or I'm just not at that age where I should be working that hard. What's going to happen with that? Here's what's going to happen. You want me to tell you? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with that. I'm trying to get out of the light of this shutter. Maybe I should just close it. How's that? Whole bank of shutters behind me. That'll be an interesting view. Okay, so here's the problem with putting yourself into the conversation or the thought process about whether you're too old for a career move or whether you're too old for a promotion. The problem is you're going to have reluctance. And women who are working hard and have put in whatever number of years, whether that be 10, 15, 25, or 30, the years that you've put in, I call your treasure chest. So if you have all of these decades of experience in your treasure chest, you're worth a lot. But there's a problem with aging. There is a problem with aging, and I know something about it because I've been doing it all my life. So I want you to conceptualize two things. Number one, there's the concept of age, meaning what you think about age and what's old. And everyone has a different concept. Again, I talk to women who are in their late 30s. They're like, well, at my age, I should really this, that, and the other thing. And please feel free, folks, to comment below to let me know that you're here. And please use your name in the comments because we're doing this in a special group. Facebook kind of doesn't let me see your name, but we've got some workarounds if you look at the comments below. So please let me know you're here. I'd love also for you just to ask me a question about age, or just to see if there's been something relative to age that has bothered you. So there's a couple of things. Number one, your concept of age. Check it out. Check out what you're saying to yourself, not only about your age, but about age in general. I have most of the women who I talk to on my clarity calls who are in their 50s tell me that ageism has already begun to affect them. Really? Okay. I don't know what ageism is doing affecting you, except that it's a concept and a belief you've decided to take in. But Mo, I've heard a lot of people say that if you're over 50, they're not going to hire you and your health insurance is more expensive and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about a lot of limiting beliefs. Matter of fact, all day long, human beings are spewing limiting beliefs out of fear and danger, trying to protect themselves from feeling bad. I'll get into that in a little second, but I want to lay these things out. So concept of age, what you perceive to be your timeline on age. Number 3, once you commit to age being a problem for you, you're going to have job reluctance. You're going to lean back, instead of leaning in. You're going to lean back a bit and not want to participate fully. I'm going to talk about this in a second. I'm going to really dive deep into this one because this is a big one. And the other thing about age is that you're now beginning to perceive that you can't keep pace with the young people in the office or the young youthful energy, because very possibly your soul has crunched down to like this minuscule piece and you're barely getting any internal, energized, optimistic, hopeful feelings running through your body. That's really what ageism is all about. There's a lot of people who are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, and their soul is light and bright, and they're contributing, and they're rocking and rolling, and they're doing their thing. I've got a really good friend who's rocking it at the same level of contribution, excitement, enthusiasm, commitment, and she's in her 70s. And you know what? She committed a long time ago that she wanted to be vibrant for a long time. So guess what? That's what she's doing. And I had a woman in my workshop a couple of years ago. She was laid off from a 6-figure job at the age of 65. She received a bit of a severance package, so she had a little bit of time to sort things out. But I got to tell you, 100% of her friends and family said, just retire. This is the time to retire and just enjoy life. And she's like, Mo, I enjoy working. So enjoying life to me is working and contributing and being smart and being valuable and having the opinion and the experience. So there's a lot of this age thing that is in here and in your heart and your soul. Sherry says, I try to look at age as a good thing because it can equal so much experience. I just turned 50 last month. All right, Sherry, rock and roll. Welcome to the 50s. So here's what ageism is all about. Here's what it is. Number 1, if you've been working for decades with a soul-crushing experience, with bad bosses, with toxic work environments, putting up with being paid below what your level ought to be, if that's been what's going on for you, you're going to be depleted. And doing that for several decades, you're going to feel like crap. So when you get to 50, unlike Sherry, who's one of my grads, thank you very much, Sherry, whose soul has been turned back up and she feels awesome. If you're not doing that, if you don't know how to turn your soul back up, you're going to feel like crap. So what's going to happen? You're going to feel like crap when you show up for work because you've been depleted, pushed down, repressed, oppressed, underpaid, all that stuff. You can't sleep at night. You're taking all kinds of pills. You're drinking too much wine. You're watching too much Bachelorette. Whatever all of that is that you're doing to numb yourself out from being 50 and being suppressed and oppressed in your career for 30 years, and maybe you have an ex-husband who's a pain in the ass, all of that has just taken everything out of you. And you've agreed to that. Mind you, you have agreed to being zapped of all of your energy and all of your value. It hasn't been done to you. Do you realize that your life, every single day, you make decisions whether you're going to agree with it or not? But that being said, don't walk out on your job. Don't walk out on your life. Fix it. Fix you. And if you don't do that, by the time you hit your 40s and definitely in your 50s, you're going to feel like crap. You're going to feel washed up. You're going to feel like you don't have anything more to contribute. And you're going to pull back from your job, from your responsibilities at work, from anything more, and you're just going to be sitting there like this, hoping to hang on. And guess what happens when you do that? Everyone knows it. Everyone feels you're holding back and you're withdrawing and you're closing yourself down because you feel that you're just too old and you've been trampled and you're not going to keep giving anymore because you don't have anything left to give. So you're going to just pull back, you're going to withdraw, and guess who gets fired first? Guess who gets laid off first? Guess who gets marginalized and not invited to the cooler meetings, the progressive things, and all of the cool stuff at work? Guess who gets left out? So you've made a decision that age is your problem. You've made a decision to continue to let being oppressed and underpaid be the problem that's going to victimize you to pull back. And I could pull back even further. I could just pull back. Let me see which way. I'm going to pull back all the way off screen. So now I'm irrelevant. Yep, I'm irrelevant. And look, they're not including me in stuff. And my boss is not talking to me anymore. And I'm not included. And it's because I'm too old and they don't want to deal with me. Come a little closer, darling. Come a little closer. Come on, get involved. Love yourself. Be a part of the action. Get things rocking and rolling again. If you act at 55 the way you acted at 35, more than likely you were rocking and rolling, enthusiastic, ready to go do stuff. Yeah. What happened in those 20 years between 35 and 55? What happened between 35 and 65? What happened? You got depleted. You got burnt out. If over those 20 or 30 years, you're making $50,000 less, times 20, 50,000, is that $1 million? No. Yeah, that's what it is. It's $1 million. Times 30 years, it's $1.5 million. I should get my calculator out. Hang on a second. Let's do some math, folks, because age requires a little bit of math. Because when you get older, you should have all this money in the bank, all this retirement savings, and you should be thinking about when you're going to plot your exit on the upside because you're in control of your decisions. So $50,000 less times 20 years. Yep, it's $1 million. I knew that. I'm actually pretty good at math, but I wanted to get my calculator out and actually do the numbers. And if you're paid, let's say you're paid $30,000 less times 30 years. Yep. Where am I? 900,000. Yep. So between 35 and 55 and then 65, if you're totally underpaid, oppressed, suppressed, and you're agreeing to that, because this is a free world for most of people who are watching this. If you're watching my Facebook Live, you live in the free world. I don't care if you're in Europe, South America. All right, there's some iffiness there. But honestly, you're in a free society. You can make choices. And you've decided not to because you've accepted what's been thrown your way. Why? Because your woman's been conditioned to do that and you don't think you can make another decision and you haven't stood up for yourself. If that's your case, go back to session 2 that I did where I was ranting about that one. But here's the thing, old ladies, you've been playing too small too long and now you've pulled yourself away and now you're blaming them. You're not too old to succeed. You've just decided to give up. And to me, that's what ageism is all about. If you've given up on yourself, so has everyone else. Energetically, you are not going to get anyone to believe in you. So if you're over whatever age feels old and you've given up on yourself, darn right ageism is going to come and snag you. Darn right, because you're the maker of it. Every individual person is the maker of ageism. And it's how you show up in what you've decided that you're worth, money-wise, showing up-wise, energetically. What are you putting up with physically? What have you decided is okay physically because you're that age? You're old. Well, Mo, menopause. And, after menopause, you just don't feel good. So, of course, I'm going to drink a lot of wine at night and watch The Bachelorette. It's the only thing that makes me feel good. It doesn't make you feel good. It's numbing you out. Why are you getting numbed out? Because you've been suppressed, oppressed, and underpaid for 20 years. Kind of don't blame you. But that's not the answer. The answer is to come back into your life, to shine back up. Don't agree to being zapped out of your valley and don't walk out on your job. That's right. Leonardo, and yes, I'm a gift. Yes, you are a gift, Leonardo, to your family, your friends, and your workplace. So here's the big thing that you have to embrace for yourself. No matter what your age, no matter how many decades you may have been in a bad boss, oppressive situation, being told things about the fact that you're not capable, I don't care how long you've endured that. It's time to step up for yourself. You're not too old. You're not too frail, too brittle, too broke, too poor. Every woman I've spoken to on a clarity call, when I say, hey, what's that dream job look like for you? You know what they all say? First thing, I want to help people. You ain't got a chance of that if you haven't helped yourself first. You don't have the energetic equivalency of it. You're not congruent. You have to help you. If you don't do that, you're never going to be able to help others. But Mo, I take care of my family and I do this and my grandkids. Give is not the same thing as helping others. And by the way, those are family obligations, not the same thing. You have got to get yourself up, no matter what your age is, and in the show in order for you to feel awesome and do awesome in the world. Hello, Sherelle. Nice to see you. Sherry, nice to see you. Lee. Ladies, it's great to see you here. I want to continue inspiring you this week on why women are still not ahead. And this age topic is huge. It is huge. Now, here's the thing. Every now and then, I come across a woman who is in her 50s or 60s, and she's got a real chip on her shoulder. A chip. You can feel it. It comes through the phone. Chip. They just don't know any better. Are they including you in meetings and you feel like you're vibrant and active? No. And you know what? Screw them. I don't really need to be in meetings, and I've been here long enough. I know what's going on. I don't need to do that. Let the younger people deal with those things. They should be doing that. Watch what's coming out of your mouth about age. Watch what you're saying and declaring openly about age and about you. Hold off on living the limiting beliefs that you really don't want anyway. Hold off on that and check in, because if you're grinding away for 20 or 30 years, not living your truth of how awesome you are, you're going to have cynicism, negativity, frustration, and you're going to be peeling yourself back because you don't want to get hurt. So put yourself back at the table. Shine yourself up. Claim your worth. Get involved. Know that you've got decades ahead of you. Decades. If you're 55 right now and you feel like your career is kind of behind you, do some math on that. If you don't claim another leap forward, you could literally be leaving $300,000 on the table easily. 20,000 times 15 years, 300,000 on the table. That's conservative. Most people who are in their early to mid 50s should be the higher earners, the higher contributors, the most experienced, best contributors in their organizations. And if that's not you, if you're kind of feeling washed up, take a look at what you've got in your treasure chest of the things that you know how to do and what your experience is, and take stock of that. And if you're not doing good by that, shame on you. If it's 20,000 more a year or 40,000 more a year, 40,000 more a year is $600,000. I got to do the math for you, because every single year that you're not earning at the level that you oughta, shoulda, woulda, coulda, you're leaving money on the table for someone else. No, you're just leaving it off the table for you. So go get yours. Shine yourself up. Play at a level that's vibrant and active. Be a part of the scene. And make the money and earn the money that's going to feel good for you, because guess what? It's part of the package of contributing at the level that you ought to be playing at. I'm just not saying go for money for money. I'm saying what happens is that 99% of the time, the contribution that you have at an organization equals the compensation level. So if you want to be more valuable, if you want to be seen, if you want to be doing the cool stuff, the stuff that requires the experience and wisdom that you have, you got to be at a higher level in the organization, or you got to be at a higher level at another organization. Or how about this? You're so talented and experienced that a startup or a young progressive company would love to have the depth and breadth of what you bring to the table. Negotiate that stuff. Get that stuff going. There's a lot of opportunity in this world. There is, but you have to be totally aligned and congruent with your power. Here's a few other things that I want to just lay down in front of you to think about on this, am I too old to succeed? Number one, don't be the cynic at work. Don't wear that label. Don't be that person. You're going to get marginalized. No one wants to hang with you. And then you'll blame it on age. But it's really your attitude. Number two, and I talk about this all the time. I talk about it in my workshop with my clients. Don't be the devil's advocate ever. If you're that person, they don't like you. They don't. If you're the devil's advocate person, it sucks. And you know what? If I'm the executive and you're the devil's advocate person in a meeting that I'm at, I don't want you to come back into a meeting. I don't want you to be there. But Mo, I always see things that the executives never see. Okay, but don't be the devil's advocate about it. Be smart. Be influential. Be impactful. Don't give yourself that lousy excuse of being the devil's advocate. That's just sucky. It's victim-y. It's negative. Don't be that person at work, at home, ever. Don't do that. It's not becoming. It's not part of your highest version of you. Your highest self doesn't need, I'm just being the devil's advocate. Your higher self doesn't need that. So stop it. Number three, stop disqualifying yourself because of your age. In meetings, projects, initiatives, stop disqualifying yourself, either in here or out there. Stop disqualifying who you are and what you're all about because you kind of feel this subtle, well, I'm just too old. I've done that. Oh, and that's the next one. Don't be that person. Don't be the person who says, we tried that before. I've done that already. It didn't work. Just shut that down. Shut it down. There's nothing good that comes out of that thought process. Because guess what? You may have done it 100 times your way, or you may have done it 100 times their way. And there might be someone who's new and smart in a different computer system, different software, and now we can do it. So don't be shutting stuff down just because you think you've done it before. There's never been something that's totally been done before if it's tomorrow. Because the energy is different, the ideas are different, the technology is different. So don't be that we've done it and it didn't work. Don't be the we don't do that around here. Don't do that. I'm telling you how to save your career. Don't be that person. These are things that start to infect and poison people as they get older. And this is what ageism is all about. It's about your crusty, dried up attitude because you haven't given yourself the opportunity to shine in a long time. And it feels crappy. And you're not sleeping. And you may be drinking too much wine at night. Bachelorette, HGTV, ice cream. Maybe even other stuff that I'm not even going to talk about. So you got to watch out what's really going on with you. Do you think most people are going to continue retiring at 65? No, Michelle, I don't. Because the way that I'm looking at things and the number of people I talk to, they can't retire at 65. So I really do believe, not only because of public policy, healthcare and expectations, and also the population in general, we're going to have to be contributing into our 70s. Look, I got to tell you this. My parents both worked into their 70s. My dad retired as a judge and a lawyer at 78, partly because he couldn't remember every single fact of everything off the top of his head. He was a Mensa, brilliant guy, always could remember everything. So at 78, he hung up his professional cleats, so to speak, and my mom did so earlier in her 70s. So I really think that we are going to be working into our 70s, and I really do think that our sense of what's possible into our 60s and 70s continues to expand as human beings play around more with being active at older ages. All things being equal, I'm a lot more active and vibrant at my age. You'll have to guess what it is. Than other people I used to see at my age when I was younger. And my mom is more active and vibrant than her mom was at her age. And I do believe that for the most part, human generations are healthier and more active at later ages in life. And our social structure is just not going to allow most people to retire until we're in our 70s. And by social structure, I mean everything about our social structure, like the jobs that will actually need to be filled. The amount of money that people will have as they hit their 60s will not be enough for them to retire, because what's happening as well is that people are living longer, which means you need more money to retire. So all of that entire package of social structure, expectations of age, contribution, personal awareness of health and vigor and vitality is going to keep us active in the workplace. Whether it's full-time active, the way that it might look more traditionally, or whether it's contributing kind of part-time project basis. I'm going to tell you something. My prediction is that my generation and the generation just below, so people who are in their 40s up until people in their 60s plus right now, may be needed for communication and training for teams in future workplaces, because you know how many kids are doing this all day long and they haven't really learned how to interface and interact as human beings. So I really do believe that a lot of communication and team building and people working together, the skills that we had to have because we didn't have technology growing up. I didn't have one of these when I was growing up. I had to deal with people. I had to learn how to communicate, win them over, et cetera. I couldn't send a text message and like, ooh, I hope it doesn't happen. So thanks, Michelle. Great perspective. Just what I was hoping you'd say. Did you plant that question so I would like say those words? And then someone else comments, I'm here to succeed as the new me, no matter the number. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, the other thing is this. If you watch the statistics, now this is more true of men. But when people retire, they start to decline faster in physical vitality. With men, it's almost like a cliff dive. With women, not as fast, but you could say to me, well, no, that's usually because that's the age that also, so the people in their 60s and 70s decline faster than people in their 50s. But the statistics show that the mere fact of leaving the workforce is going to increase your decline. So what does that mean? You're leaving the vital contribution. So you're not as relevant in the world. You're not contributing. You're not on a regular schedule. You're probably eating differently. You're probably changed a lot of things that have kept you feeling vital, important, necessary. All of those things fuel us. Now, the thing I got to say that you've got to change, if you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, have I ever had a woman in her 70s in my workshop? I don't think so. You've got to change the depletion. You've got to change the cynicism. You've got to change how you feel about opportunities. And you have to be pushing yourself into excitement and workplace dynamics rather than pulling yourself away because of reluctance due to your age. So that's really what's important as you age. You're not too old to succeed, but you may be burnt out, depleted, cynical, negative, and therefore you're too much that to succeed. I don't care what age you are, but usually it creeps up on people after decades of poor bosses, toxic work environments, and being underpaid. Question, or get that retire center without the active lifestyle. I believe when you do what you love, retirement doesn't become a choice. You'll live your mission. That's exciting. Yeah, Miliana, agree. And you know, that's basically what the mantra has been for a couple of decades now, kind of out there in the career and workspace. If you love what you do, you'll never work another day in your life. The bottom line is this: showing up somewhere and contributing your skills, your talents, your insight, your influence, your impact, and receiving money back in exchange for that energy that you're giving, that treasure chest that you're sharing of your experience, your education, your expertise, getting money back for that is, let's just call it work. That's the transactional exchange. I'm going to give you value, and therefore you're going to give me some money so that I can have the nice tangible things in this physical world. That's what we do as human beings right now in society. So we're calling that work. And yes, indeed, if you're aligned with it and it feels awesome and you like what you're doing and you're good at it and people are appreciating you and you're feeling connection with your coworkers, your boss, your team, if you're feeling all of that, you're getting fueled up. And yes, work then doesn't have to deplete you. It can enliven you. So my clients are all about living a happy Monday, enjoying every work day as if it's Friday, not because every work day feels like, oh, thank God I want to quit and have a weekend, but just that it's not something that you have reluctance on. So Kick-Ass Sisters, no age is best. I'm loving life more as we support the life of the sisters we love. Absolutely. Rock on. Yes, indeed. So we're living life more vibrantly when our soul is lit up like a freaking Christmas tree. And that's what we're going for. Because you can't effort past cynicism and being depleted. You can't work harder on top of that. It's just going to create more of the same. So I implore you to check in with yourself on what you're feeling and thinking and what you're sending out there about your age or about age in general. I implore you to make sure that you're hitting your stride and contributing at a level that feels in full alignment. And if you're not there, we can help you out. Your first step to that is to book a clarity call. Every single client here who is rah, yes, indeed, started with a clarity call. And if my workshop seems like the right fit and you're really ready to commit to changing things for good, then let's get you taken care of in the workshop. Let's get you tooled back up. Let's get you transformed. Most of the women that we work with can't do it on their own, otherwise they would have. And the women that we don't work with, it's kind of sad what happens. I've had a coach ongoing for the last 19 years, and I'll say this, the coaches that I've had over those 19 years helped lifting me to the next vista, the next mountaintop, the next this, the next that. Without professional help, insight, and someone who can see things that you can't. Because if you've been living a life that doesn't feel good, you have blind spots about what's possible. You have blind spots about yourself. You have blind spots about how to fix it, and you probably don't have the right strategies and techniques to fix it. Otherwise, you would have. I mean, true that. If you could fix it, you would, because you're possibly not happy, certainly not productive at the level you want to be. So that's important to fix, strutting our stuff out there. So who is that commenting? Just let me know who that is, who's strutting your stuff. I love it. I love it. Ladies, I'm so excited to be offering this series on why women are still not ahead in order to enliven you for yourself. And I also want to let you know, if you don't know my work, the type of work that we do. I'm in the soul lifting business. Not only so that you'll feel better about the soul and the life that you are destined to live on this planet Earth in this lifetime that you're now in, but also so that you can maximize that for the best economic gain for you and your family and your future in the work world. When I was in my career for the first 20 or so years, I struggled a lot with how I felt about getting ahead, about felt like I was being heard. In healthcare as a nurse, I was predominantly in male-dominated meetings and organizations. And as I got into management, I was usually the only woman at the table. And I was not heard. My ideas were dismissed. Someone would say that same thing 5 minutes later. And if it came out of a male mouth in a suit, it was now the best thing ever. I had a lot of problems moving forward in a sense of myself in the 80s and 90s when I was building my career. And I started hitting a few strides in the mid 90s and into the 2000s. And I started to put some of the spiritual, soul, and personal growth things that I'd been studying for decades together into how I was showing up at work, and my success began to climb. When I hired my first coach in the year 2000, it was because I was hitting my head up a wall in a job I loved. I was being paid well and I loved that job. But I didn't know how to navigate a complex organization and be seen as someone who was ready for more and whose opinions and ideas needed to be listened to. I was a pusher. I was a doer. I needed to raise myself up to the next level. And I hired a coach and I began to do that. Now, I've been fired, laid off, displaced, reorganized out 6 times in my career. So I know how that feels. I also know some of the symptoms that preceded that and some of the things to avoid on the front end so that you're not in that situation. I also know that sometimes you join an organization and you're kind of vibing with things, and then sometimes you're not vibing with an organization and you get expelled out. If you feel like you're on the verge of getting expelled out, it might be the universe's way of kicking your ass because you haven't made that decision yourself. So being proactive and finding that next level up job on your own terms while you're still employed is the best strategy. And so many of the women who come to us have either walked out, been fired, laid off, and they've been kind of floundering for a couple of months, sometimes over a year or sometimes even multiple years. And at that point, the soul is so depleted and your template and your conditioning about who you are and what's possible is so damaged. It's hard to light that back up to the level that we're going to get you back into vibrancy. Now, we do it. We darn well do it. We're really good at what we do. And we're really, really good at lifting women's souls back up so that they can be contributing oftentimes at levels they've never contributed before. And then they're lit up forever. Now, you have to keep working on your soul's vibrancy because the world is going to toss you some things and it could play into the conditioning and the oh no and the victimhood. And you've got to keep moving through the lessons in a powerful way. That's why so many of my clients continue to work with me after the 12-week program, because after the 12 weeks, life doesn't stop, and you haven't completed the entire journey in 12 weeks. You've gotten a great foundation. You've got techniques and strategies. Many of our ladies have new jobs and promotions and opportunities that are absolutely fantastic, but it doesn't stop there. Your life's journey doesn't stop until you croak. So it's always important to continue to maintain the vibrancy, vitality of your soul and your physical body. So that's the other thing I wanted to close this topic with. Too old to succeed. If your body is not healthy, if your body is holding you back, you're going to need to pay attention to your body, because if you're depleted and loss of energy because you've got physical issues that have crept up over time, which may happen. I've got a few things that I'm taking care of as I've gotten a little older. If you don't take care of those things, that on top of the conditioning of feeling like you're too old is going to absolutely marginalize you. Absolutely marginalize you. People are going to stop inviting you to important meetings. They're going to stop including you in things. And you're going to feel like an outsider. And then eventually when there's a layoff or when there's promotions, you're left out. Well, you're left in on the layoff and you're left out of the promotions because you have drifted away. So take care of your physical body as well. Respect yourself. Take care of you. If you don't take care of you, no matter what your age, you're not going to have the life that you really want, that your soul wants. You've got to put yourself as a high priority. You have to. If you don't do that, you will not rise up. You will not succeed to a level where you feel, yes, this is me. This is my success. Yes, yes, yes. You've got to prioritize yourself. And so what might happen is that over decades of prioritizing your family, your bosses, your siblings, your parents, you've gotten down to like 55th place. You've got to get yourself back up to first. First place category, take care of you, stop the cynicism, get the body feeling better, stop numbing yourself out from all the bullshit every night, every weekend. Don't live for the weekend. Work so that you can have a great weekend. Don't work only to get to the weekend. You see the difference? Work so that you can have a great weekend. Live so that you can have a great day. That's how you age well. That's how you get successful more and more as you get older and wiser. Let that education, expertise, and experience get leveraged in the marketplace. Tomorrow, I'm talking about another cool topic, session 4 out of 5. I got 2 more sessions here with you ladies on why women are still not ahead. Tune in again for session number 4 and session number 5. You know what? I forget what I'm talking about tomorrow, but it's going to be awesome. You'll see an email. If you're not on my email list, you want to be on it because I send emails with inspiration all the time. Some people say, oh, Mo, it's too much. Too much inspiration? Really? Is your life really that high and cool and vibing that you don't need inspiration? I don't know about you, but I get inspiration every morning at a minimum, and then often several times through the day. So I love getting inspiring emails. I love my go-to places for YouTube and podcasts and the things I know that are going to lift me up. I love that stuff. So sign up for my emails. mofaul.com is where you're going to get on my website, and you can sign up for my emails. See my webinar. If you haven't seen my free webinar, mofaul.com/masterclass is one of those. Go see my webinar, 5 Shifts to Land Your Dream Career. And if you need help now, if you're suffering, if you think you're too old to succeed, if the chips have been falling against you, we need to work together and get this taken care of for you. You're too valuable to be underpaid, unappreciated, tramped on. You're too valuable. mofaul.com/free clarity. Let's see, hang on, hold on. I know that Krista posted the link, mofaul.com/RUBYSTW. Krista, we're going to have to find an easier URL for that. mofaul.com/clarity, I believe, will also get you there. Let's rock your aging. Let's make it be a positive experience. Let's make it be a wonderful, enlivening, deep, meaningful experience to age, to bring more to the table, to be easier. Because you know what? When you know your job really well, it's easier. You don't have to work as hard as you did when you were in your 30s. That's the truth. And that's what we got going on for you. So this is Coach Mo Faul, mofaul.com, everywhere on social media and the internet at Coach Mo Faul or Mo Faul. You can find me. See you next time on Why Women Are Still Not Getting Ahead. This is my topic for the week, session 4. Next time. We'll see you then.